I have done 3 recording sessions back to back to back, and the last video was completely divulging on how bad the West will be in comparison to the expectations of a lot of people. I do not feel like I need to retread on that video at all. In fact, one of my most recent recordings on what I tried to do in sessions for that, I basically did just that. That is not this video. This video is the counterpart to that video. Consider it like a sister location type of video. Um, Actually, that's not an app turn. This video, man, we're less than a minute and I'm already screwing up. This video is going to be like the Eastern counterparts of that video. The counterpart is the word I want to say. So my thoughts on the Eastern Conference as a whole, where it's heading in the direction. I think the East will be fine soon. I think it'll be good soon. Do I think it'll ever be as good as the West? Probably not. There's not enough internal pressure in the East to make them better. Maybe if like the NBA was seriously considering like, hey, let's do away with these conferences, yeah. I think 15 teams in the West would. I think most teams in the West would be like very pro to that. Doing away with conferences, we actually have the ability to travel this far. Like, it's one of those relics of the NBA that kind of needs to die anyway. Similar to the old finals format, which I'm not gonna lie, if you like this, you should be drowned. Yeah. Drown that guy. Anyway. East. Starting with this team. We see it? Good. Cleveland. Okay, so I saw exactly one clip of this team from the preseason, and that makes me think the exact same thing I saw from them last year. This team's gonna be so good. The playmaking is gonna be great. I think that Lonzo is a suitable replacement for the amount of things that I'm expecting from him until Darius Garland gets healthy and this team can get right back on the ball from there. Okay? Good. Is this team going to win 64 games? No. No. It's not going to happen. They're not going to win 64 games. I don't think they should try to win 60 games this season. I think they should try to be the best that they can be. But if stuff goes wrong, don't bank on winning 60 games. You don't need to win 60 games to make it through this conference. You don't need to win 60 games to win a championship. You need to win 16 games in the playoffs. That's what you need to do. The team should be worried about the playoffs in the postseason. They had a very good formula that worked very well last year. Obviously, it didn't work out the greatest because they got injured. The team that beat them is no longer here. The team that was beating them in the previous years is no longer here. If I don't see a conference finals from this team this year, it'll be very disappointing. Their expectations are set high because they should be that high. Same thing, same deal with New York. Now, last video I did talk about the win total, so let me really quickly say this. The Cavs are not going to win as nearly as games as they did last year. It's going to be a tighter conference, obviously. Well, they're probably going to win 55 games. I think they're going to start off the season a little bit slower due to the fact that they're missing Darius Garland. I think, and I know that they're not going to start off 12-0 like they did last year. They're not going to be coming close to 16-0, guys, like they did last year, right? Okay, cool. That being said, the East is worse this year, so if their schedule allows it, they might do something like that, but it's unlikely. Okay? A nice surprise team last year. They're not going to be surprising niggas this year. 55 games. 58 games, maybe. That's the range that I'm giving you. Okay, New York. New York is the second best team in the conference. And I know you're saying second best. Second best. Second best team. Second rate team. They went through absolutely no one last year, dog. They went to Detroit, who was not fully healthy. And then they played Boston, who was not fully healthy either. New coach Mike Brown, I don't expect him to run the same 6 players into the ground by the postseason, so that should be giving them a little bit more life. And I don't think you should see nearly as much heroics from Jalen Brunson. I don't think you want to see that either if you want to win games. But this team needs to pray that they don't face it. This team needs to pray that the seeding is good, because if they have to face like Orlando or Detroit again this season, that is going to be a problem. Not a jest or a joke. These are the teams that they should be trying to avoid actively in the sitting. I think they can win 51 games. I think 51 games is a fair marker for them. I think they're the second best team in the conference. Are they going to have the second most wins in the conference is a completely different discussion. So yeah. I don't really think I need to explain Cat. Like it's hard to talk about anything with how Mike Brown is going to coach his team now that Tibbs is no longer there. But yeah, I can see them making improvements on the offensive side. I think their defense is definitely going to slip because Tibbs was Mr. Defense, and that was the one thing keeping Cat's defense from being awful. Like god awful too. And these two are not great offensive. These two are not great together. Brunson and him are not really this like amazing duo. They work really well when you stagger their minutes, and the reason they work really well when you stagger their minutes, which is something you're going to do for the regular season anyway, regardless, is because both of these guys are net positives when separated. They're not going to be nearly as much together, right? Mike Brown can maybe alleviate a little bit of that to make it worse, so they're not a net negative, because I think they were negative 2.6 when they were both on the floor together. I know that means nothing to like regular people, but that's not good from your best two players. OG is probably gonna have to take more of a step up in as far as like his shot creating things, and Mikal Bridges is gonna have to probably do exactly what he's doing right now. I think the offense will be a little bit more balanced. I think he can bring some of the Warriors-like qualities that we saw from them in seasons where they were really good. So that could be something. I think this offense does need a lot of that to do that, but I don't think this team is built. I don't think these players are currently ready for that. It is going to take a while for them to get adjusted to that. I think maybe next year they could be really fully ready for it, but like I think it's going to take a while. So especially because then not having like this like coaching thing figured out as soon as they fired him, like who was going to be the next guy up, and they couldn't get anyone to get this job. Like it's going to take a while for it to like gel properly and be really good, in my opinion. Orlando's coming out the gates swinging hot. I think this will be the team that'll be like the number one seed throughout like the first 5 weeks of the season. This will be the number one team in the East throughout that time period, unless their schedule is really hard. In which case disregard it. But by the end of the season, it'll probably be like I think they'll win like 53 games. I think they'll win like 53 to 55 games. I think that is the range that I'm expecting for them. The reason I'm saying this in all fairness is because I think Paulo Banchero will take a leap. I think Franz Wagner cannot get much worse as a three-point shooter. It's crazy to say, like, I don't expect Franz to get better at these other things. I just think he can't be this bad of a three-point shooter. Yeah, if he figures out and remembers that, it'll be fine. Tatum fixed his jump shot last year, so it shouldn't be too hard, right? Yeah, no, just his three-point shooting has to be not as abysmal as it was in the playoffs. It was... Gosh. Okay, anyway, they took Boston 6 games last year. So, yeah. I think they can make a bounce back. I think they will be a much suitable team, especially with Jalen Suggs being a part of that. Their defense is going to be stifling. It is going to be disgusting to play against. I think they'll be the second team as far as wins, but I would not be surprised if this next team that I'm going to talk about will be second in wins in the conference. But honestly, I think this team will only win like 49 games. The Detroit Pistons. Why am I so high on the Detroit Pistons? Is it because J.B. Bickerstaff is a former coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers? No. It's because Cade Cunningham could actually have a top 10 player season this year. And consensus top 10, mind you. Not like fringe like last year. Like a consensus top 10 player this season. Yes, was a part of it. Do I think they can get some better perimeter play from with these guys than they had last year? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. What? Yeah, they lost on Malik Beasley because of like a gambling scenario that didn't exist in all actuality, and they just like don't have him anymore on the roster. God, what are they gonna do to the Clippers when they figure out what the Kawhi situation? Be ready for that. But they lost out on Malik Beasley. They lost out on Tim Hardaway Jr. He went to the Denver Nuggets as well. I think that Cade is going to have to take another leap as their playmaking guy, but I think Jaden Ivey is going to have a big part to do with this. Again, though, they should have traded for Devin Booker by now, and they didn't. Let's hope they get their point guard. Let's hope they get a point guard situation figured out, or not a point guard, a 2-guard situation figured out for them. Because I think I can see another leap from Jalen Duren this season. I think we can see another leap from Isaiah Stewart. I know you only think about Big Stu as these brawly, reckless player that was chasing after LeBron that one time, but he actually is very important for their defense. They did not have him in the playoffs, and that is why they lost to the New York Knicks in a very, very close series that I think everyone is over exaggerating on the fact that New York was very clearly the better team. They were not. I had the Pistons predicted to beat them for a reason. I am not crazy. This is a team that is going to be very good on the defensive end. I do wonder if Tobias Harris will have the same season that he did last year. I don't know about that. Also, was clearly the second best player. That can't happen again. Jalen Duren has to step up and to be their second best player. That's what I think has to happen. Look for them to maybe like, I don't know. Would this be crazy to say that they can like try and get some like, I don't know, who would the shooting guard be? Like, I don't know, Doug. They're gonna have to look. But yeah, they're gonna have to get some figured out over there. I think Jaden Ivey could be that guy and try and fill into that. Ausar Thompson, Ausar Thompson could be that guy as well. I think Ausar was great in the playoffs last year. I think Ausar can make a step up in that. We can see that a little bit of guard responsibility from him. Same thing I'm predicting for MN and the Houston team. But yeah, those should be the qualifications for that team being in the 49 team. So I know you're saying to yourself, why hasn't Atlanta been mentioned? They're fucking Atlanta, dog. I don't care. Kristaps Porzingis, in addition to this team, that is a... How do I put this? He's like Schrodinger's cat. Do you know what Schrodinger's cat is? Okay, let me explain it for you, the people who don't. Schrodinger's cat is this like... You are observing this this container of water. You have no idea there's water in it until I open it because you cannot observe it. That's him. Will he play? Who knows? There are signs of life that there are signs of life that he might do it. But it's Kristaps Porzingis. He's a player that has been injury prone in the past. He's also very tall, and he has problems with that. Kristaps is a great guy, though, so I hope he gets to play this season. Jalen Johnson should have improvement. Dyson Daniels should be just in consensus for really good defensive players that no one ever talks about. Yeah, I think he'll be one of those guys. I think Capello was gone. Where did he go? Didn't Clint go back to Houston? Yeah, Clint went back to Houston. I think they're going to have to get some minutes from Onyeka Okongwu. By the way, if you were wondering, there is water in this, and I needed that desperately. This is your reminder to drink water. Yeah, Onyeka Okongwu can give them more production from the season from the center role. Just has to be a lob threat. Jalen Johnson should be better this year, obviously. I expect improvement from him. Trae Young should be Trae Young, same guy he's always been. I don't know why people are thinking that that's a bad thing. Trae Young is Trae Young. He's an all-star for a reason. That's good. He's been considered overrated, but dog, this is probably the best roster he's had since 2021. Yeah. This team could find themselves in the conference finals this year if they get a similar run to that one. Let's talk about them now. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I haven't talked about a top 10 player yet. Yeah, I know you're saying like a consensus top 10 player. We haven't talked about who is clearly the second at worst best player in the world. Giannis. What is Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks going to be doing this year? So they did manage to retool and replace Brook Lopez. I think that was very impressive. Obviously, Brook Lopez went to the Clippers, and the reason why I think the Clippers will be very, very good this year. But regardless, they found a replacement for him that was not only as good as him, but better. I think Miles Turner is a perfect replacement for that. They needed to desperately address that they don't have a 3 and D big. They have that now on the roster. The problem with this team, and the problem you're going to have with this team entire year, is outside of Giannis, honestly, this entire team's playmaking is going to be god-awful. And Doc Rivers does not draw the most imaginative of sets. He is a very limited coach who probably should have been fired, and as Mike Brown was available for New York, I think Thibodeau should have been available for this team. Dear God, does this team need to be good? So defensively, I think that's going to work out for them. Giannis and Miles Turner is going to be good defensively. Duh. The problem emerges with the front. The front court is fine. The back court is Kevin Porter Jr. Dog. Gary Trent Jr. on a very good deal. He obviously shot them in the foot one time in the playoffs, even twice in the playoffs, to be quite honest. That's the reason why that Pacers series took six. That Pacers series didn't take as long as it should have, probably for a lot of people's expectations. Yeah, no, just. That's pretty much how I feel about them. But this conference is so weak that like Giannis being just Giannis should be enough to get this team not only in like a good enough position to be talked about. I think he'll be in MVP discussions just because who else is gonna be, right? Who else are we gonna have? We can't entertain Shea, right? Because it's I know you're gonna say voter fatigue. He just won. He only won one last time last year, dude. He was the what? I think it was the first. He was the first. He's been the first back-to-back years. He only won MVP last year. They won 68 games. It's gonna be hard to top that season. Just frankly, unless he has like an assist ratio that'll be like better than he did last year, like a much better assist, like higher assists or stuff like that. It would have to be like Curry 2015 to 2016 type season for him to do that. Yeah, that would have to be that. Giannis. I think that's six. I think that's the 6 teams that they're going to play in. Let's talk about those. Sorry, those postseason. Let's talk about those play-in teams. Lord have mercy. So a play-in is about as easy to get into as possible. You're gonna only have to win around 40 games. It's gonna run you 40 games. That's about it. You're gonna have to win around. You're gonna have to be a 500 team to get in the play-in this year. This is what people are talking about when they say the East is terrible and needs to be abolished. This is the part. So, Indiana could obviously make a climb for it. Obviously, I think Indiana is going to play as hard as they can. Siakam and them can get themselves into the plan. Obviously, I think Nembhard will take a leap. I think Benedict Mathurin will also take a leap, especially considering the ball. There's going to be a lot of ball handling duties that he's going to have to deal with. That'll increase. Now their defense is not going to be nearly as good without Miles Turner, but on the bright side, I actually can't say anything on the bright side, dog. This is just going to be tough. I think they have enough guards to like suitably replace what Halliburton gives them offensively, production-wise, piece by piece. Is he going to be as good? No. As efficient? No. Even as clutch? No. But it should be suitable enough to get them into play-in tier status. Why haven't I talked about the Sixers? Why have the Sixers given me a reason? Have the Sixers given me a reason to talk about them? No. Injury-prone team after injury-prone team every single year. I mean it. This team cannot find a way to stay healthy. It is disturbing, to be quite honest. I don't see them doing it this year. If they are healthy, if, and I know you're saying to yourself, it's just Embiid. No. Paul George is already slated to miss the Sixers opening. The Sixers have 3 injury-prone players as their best 3 players, and they just got a high draft pick for a reason. I think Edgecombe can play some minutes, and they should be looking to rebuild. I think that they should be looking to rebuild with this team, and I don't know. If I'm Embiid, I might not want another process. I might medically retire. I might retire. I might be considering it, bro, because this is the way they talk about Embiid for starters, right? Right? I just it would weigh on me heavy, man. I know you're saying you get paid millions of dollars, but like that constant like talk would get to you at a certain point. A lot of you niggas is not as hard as you think you is, for real. Yeah, no. Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, like this is like tear it down and start it over, bro. Paul George on this team. You make my mind. Outstanding garbage team, man. This is gonna be awful. Don't even look for it. Brooklyn next. If you see this on the schedule and your team doesn't get a win, cry yourself to sleep. This is the team that should be beaten by everybody. This is a sub 20 win team. In all honesty, if I'm Brooklyn, I'm not even trying to win. like I guess they should try to win because they don't have like their picks and stuff. I just like I don't. Whatever you do, just don't try and just be a mid team. Just either suck. Yeah, no, just suck. You're not gonna be good. It's not a thing. This team is like default players. Like genuinely, like if I just hit random on the generate person for an NBA team, like this team. Nothing about this team stands out to me besides Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. That is it. And I guess their coach is cool. I guess Yuri Torres, cool. I think that's his name. Yeah, just I like. You see the enthusiasm that I'm giving you when talking about this team. It doesn't exist. It's pretend like it's not real. Hornets, Heat, DC. The rest of that entire division basically Southwest Division. Oh my god. Hornets, injury prone superstars. Same thing that I've said. Injury prone superstar on paper guy, on paper man, what if man, potential man, if you will. Give me liberty, give me fire, give me 41 games or LaMelo Ball should retire. This guy's ankles are made of paper. He has paper bones and glass ankles. He's just like God. Like I feel like he's like 95% recyclable. Like. Paper skin, glass bones. Not an ounce of metal in him except the jewelry, man. That's it. I don't know what to say, man. He's just fragile. I don't think they'll be anything ever. And it's the culture sucks. They don't have any vets on the team to make them like not who they are. They suck, man. Miami doesn't suck. Miami has the culture that like, but they don't have enough talent. Like it's just the reality of them. They'll probably find a way to win 40 games this season somehow. God knows it's not any good for them. They should probably look to tank, but they'll find a way to win 40 games. Tyler Hero and A'ja Wilson's husband, or I should just say wife at this point, because she wears the pants in that relationship. No offense to Bam Adebayo whatsoever, but like A'ja Wilson is like the go to the WNBA, and like Bam Adebayo is Bam Adebayo, dog. I'm sorry. What do you want me to say, man? Like I guess Bam makes more money than A'ja, but like. If it comes down to Nike endorsements, I don't know. They might be going ban for ban. Yeah, no, this is not a real team. I'm joking about them because they are a joke, to be quite honest. Only team in that division that matters is Orlando. That's it. Okay, DC. Well, if you thought that I had so low of an opinion on Utah, you'll be happy to know that I think that DC is in a better position because they are in the Eastern Conference. Let me say this as painlessly as I possibly can. DC, and I know you can barely see the hat because like how I got the video frame. DC is not going to be good. I say that as a DMV native. They are not going to be good. They have not been good in a while, to be honest. They have not been okay in a while, to be quite honest. They are going to stink in the wins column this year. I like DC's young core. I wouldn't personally pay to see them in person. But if they were playing against a team that I wanted to see, man, I wouldn't be mad to go to a DC game. They're a team that'll always keep the games competitive. Are they gonna win a whole lot of them? No. They could. This team, this hat says like 20. Like 20 is the number on this hat. They could win less than this. Well, less than this many games. DC. Whew. Play-in talks. No. I like Alex Sarr. I like Bob Carrollton. I think I think Chris Middleton is good veteran leadership. I think CJ McCollum is great veteran leadership. I can't even say as a coaching staff, like this team just hasn't been like talented in a while. Like they have a good young core that they can make some noise with. They're like they're more like Portland than they are like the Utah Jazz, but I think they could win as many games as Utah does. Yeah, don't look for this team on a schedule. Like if you just look for this team on a schedule, just know you're looking for a win, I guess. Yeah, that's that. Like fuck. Both New York teams, both Florida teams. Georgia and the Carolinas. I did Maryland's team. Well, not Maryland's team, so the DMV's team. Cleveland, Chicago did them. Milwaukee, Indiana. Memphis is not one, but it should be an Eastern Conference team based on a map. Boston. Yes. Let's talk about Boston. It's crazy that it took me this long to mention Boston. So, you don't have Jason Tatum anymore. I was to pray for time. No, I'm just messing. This team, they're not gonna win games. They punted on Drew Holiday for a reason. They're looking for They should still be looking for suitors for Jaylen Brown. They're not gonna find them, but they're gonna be stuck because they're stuck with Jaylen Brown. God, they're stuck with Jaylen Brown. That's gonna suck for them. I told niggas not to give him that contract. Should let that nigga walk. I don't care if they won the championship. They should let that nigga walk. I'm sorry. It is what it is. They don't have Porzingis anymore. They traded him. Derek White is still on this team. They have Anthony Simons. And Anthony Simons could be like in a Dame-ish kind of role, like play style-ish kind of stuff. Like these are the comparisons that we got from him. I personally do not think this team will be quite as bad as niggas are going to think. But there is a reason I mentioned them last, and there's a reason why I didn't think about them until this point in the video. No Tatum, dog. We gonna see how good of a coach Joe Mazzulla truly is. I know a lot of people are preying on Joe Mazzulla's downfall. They don't like Joe Mazzulla. They think he's weird. They think he's a psychopath. That's my dad talking, by the way. That's him. That's what he say. He don't like Joe Mazzulla. I like Joe Mazzulla. I think him being crazy is a benefit of him being a coach. I think the fact that he played collegiate basketball actually very recently is a good thing for him. I think that's fairly recently as far as NBA coaches. I think this is good. I do, truthfully. I think he is going to be a solid coach and leader as he had been last year. My thing with this team is there is not a lot going right for them. And all of the things that are going right are they got Anthony Simons, Peyton Pritchard, and Derek White. Who, if I'm honest, Derek White would be a core piece to their team contending in 2027 because they're not going to be doing shit 2026. But I don't know. I might be looking to trade that nigga. Might be looking to trade that nigga to try and sign somebody, like someone serious. Or some more players. And by the way, Al Horford is no longer the team either. So like, be real with yourself, man. Expectations should be set accordingly for all these teams. I think I've done a good job of educating everyone and everything that's watching this video. Jeez, man. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Acknowledge my absolute pride and joy, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that's gonna be all from me from this video. This is the final good video that I actually had to record. I did 3 so far. I didn't hold up 3. Bye. Have fun.